Tat Sat. My humble prostrations to the all-pervading Brahman, to my worshipful Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayanandaji Maharaj, to Sage Narada and all other sages and saints, and to each of you divine soul watching today's satsang. So today we will be covering Sutra number 43 from chapter 2 of the Narada Bhakti Sutras. Chapter 2 is Glory of Supreme Devotion. Commentaries by my worshipful Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayanandaji Maharaj, narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. So let's get started. Sutra 43, chapter number 2. The sutra is Dussanga Sarvathaiva Tyajyaha. Again, Dussanga Sarvathaiva Tyajyaha, meaning certainly evil association must always be abandoned. So while in the previous sutra says Narada was singing the glories of a realized guru, here he is guiding us to stay away from evil and bad association. So while good association enables one to develop sattva or purity, and it is the gateway to liberation, evil association intensifies your rajas and tamas. Those are distractions and inertia, and it is the gateway to hellish conditions in life. So while sattva takes you towards God, distractions and inertia, they take you to hellish conditions, and therefore that concept of heaven and hell, so to speak. There is nothing so disastrous in an aspirant's life as when evil association nourishes the mental impurities of anger, hate, greed, pride, egoism, selfishness, hypocrisy, and passion. These are already problematic, but if we get into association where these get flared up and agitated, it makes our problem much worse. Therefore, all sages and saints and all scriptures guide us to avoid evil company. An aspirant should not justify evil association by saying that God is in everyone, nor should he test his advancement by exposing himself to evil association or assert that he is immune to worldly influences. So don't test yourself. Protect your energy, protect your spiritual efforts, and don't mix with such negative people. Such an argument is presented only by an impure mind. People who are weak will say something like that, and then they can lose their sadhana very quickly, lose their effort. Even though God is in a scorpion also, we must still avoid its sting. See, it's important that we live in a practical world, therefore be practical. Consciousness, yes, he is in evil and he is in good, but you don't go get into intentional trouble by getting in front of evil. So you should avoid that in under all circumstances. Similarly, although God is everywhere, one must avoid evil association at all costs. Only then can you accelerate your spiritual progress. So there is a famous saying in Hindi that काजल की कोठरी में कैसे हूँ सयानो जाए, एक लीख काजल की लगई है पर लगई है, which means that how can you, if you go into a room full of coal and charcoal and you go in, by default you will get at least some black mark on your white shirt because it is full of blackness and coal. So therefore it says use your caution and don't even enter there. That is the best caution you can do, because if you were to enter a room filled with black soot, no matter how cautious you might be, there is no doubt that a trace of black soot would adhere to you, even if you are very cautious. So the best thing for you to do is to avoid that negative company. Evil association is of two types: external, internal. So if you associate with people who have negative influence on you and who engender anger, hatred, greed, passion, and other such negative sentiments, then you are under the influence of the external type of evil association. Stay away from that. On the other hand, if you harbor internal thoughts of anger, greed, resentment, fear, malice, passion, other impurities, so even when you're alone, so it's not only coming from outside, it's also coming from within. So we have to be very cautious. You are placing yourself under the evil association of the internal type. So the human mind is led to great heights of purity and sublimity by good association. So when you come into contact with sages, saints, scriptures, holy things, you start to become holy, you start to feel the bliss and joy, but it is degraded to low levels by evil association. So there's a quick downfall if one goes in the wrong direction. That is why Sage Narada is cautioning us against that. He says an aspirant must avoid reading dirty novels, cheap movies, and because these are designed to please our lower chakras, lower sentiments, sexual pleasures, those kind of things. They are not going to help us on our journey, rather, they will drag us down. He must also avoid all acts of cruelty and all forms of low thinking, which means you have to become expansive. Think of the whole creation as your family. That the positive thoughts like that. Thoughts and actions that bring impure impressions in the mind must be considered as different forms of evil association. So try to then increase your sadhana. If a bad thought is coming, you immediately restrict that and then read a holy book or go do some exercise, get some positive vibrations going for yourself. Therefore, the movement to avoid evil association and join good association must be practiced in both ways, internally as well as externally. So this was the essence of Sutra number 43. We will cover Sutra number 44 tomorrow. This is Swami Nikhilananda. Om Tat Sat.